and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. In 2018, the Kingdom of Bahrain has made large strides in many fields, especially in terms of supporting coexistence and tolerance. The inauguration of the King Hamad Chair in Interfaith Dialogue and Peaceful Coexistence this year is a real step forward towards fighting ignorance, considering the importance of knowledge, education and culture in fostering stability, coexistence and prosperity. Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, will remain a keen supporter of global peace and stability, as well as interfaith dialogue, tolerance and coexistence. The establishment of the King Hamad Global Centre reinforces the status of the people of Bahrain as ambassadors for religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence to the world. The initiative to establish the King Hamad Global Centre makes Bahrain a main global centre for important meetings, dialogues and conferences related to achieving peace and harmony amongst all religions and fighting terrorism and extremism. To speak about this issue, we are joined by the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the King Hamad Global Centre for Peaceful Coexistence, Dr. Shaikh Khalid bin Khalifa. But first, this for more. Under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Isa Cultural Centre organized a seminar addressing the concept and vision of the King Hamad Centre for Interfaith Dialogue and Peaceful Coexistence, and an introduction to the vast history of the Kingdom of Bahrain's cultural and religious diversity.
What has been done for this chair is really great. Everywhere they are saying, this is something new. Nobody tackles this important issue.
Present at the seminar were people from all over Bahrain, including students from the Bahrain British School and the Asian School. The reaction and feedback of the students after the seminar was very positive.
So we have to start with education, and we began with the King Hamad Chair, the first of its kind in the world. And this is something very important because today we brought young people with us today from several schools and educational institutes in Bahrain because they are our future. And so we have to begin with education, and the King Hamad Chair at Sapienza University in Rome cuts right to the heart of the evil ideology that is being peddled around university campuses all over the world.
So many religions in our school, there's so many, and it taught me that they pray in different places and that we should all love each other and we shouldn't care about all the violence that's happening outside against all religions.
Bahrain, the country we live in, it's a country that does not do any discrimination on the basis of your religion, your faith, let it be anything. And we are really gracious to our King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, for providing us with such facilities. So what we take back is that religion, these all aren't a thing that you actually should be taking into account. Our multicultural society, environment, this is what makes us us.
We teach religion in the school. They teach about different religions, and they do visit all the different, the churches, the mosques, the temples. All of the children go and visit them. But I think it highlighted the importance of faith, and that faith illuminating the pathway to peace. Some beautiful words. And I think they will go away remembering some of these words, is what I really think.
Religious leaders of Bahrain lauded the lecture, emphasizing the history behind Bahrain, which is affected by its geographical location, in addition to the people of Bahrain being accepting and welcoming.
We are really thankful for His Majesty, for freedom for us to worship in our own way and our own God. Especially we know that Bahrain is a place of peace and coexistence of religions.
King Hamad Global Centre for Interfaith Dialogue for Peaceful Coexistence, which is now coming up, is in need of an hour. Because with this centre coming up, we will be able to meet all the faiths together and have the word and have the common platform in which we can discuss each and every issues, which can 101% solve all the problems of terrorism.
Welcome back. Joining us in the studio is Dr. Shaikh Khalid bin Khalifa. Al Khalifa, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Shaikh, first we would like to congratulate you on receiving the Mediterranean Award of Culture and Peace in 2018 in Italy in recognition of the tremendous efforts exerted by yourself, by Bahrain, by the King Hamad Global Centre in spreading peace. What can you tell us about the award and what it means to cultural diplomacy?
Thank you very much, Sarah. In fact, this award goes to His Majesty the King for the path that he has laid down for us to follow and to achieve. Therefore, I think we have a clear view on what we should do and what are our goals for the future. Therefore, I think for the last 10 years at least, what we have done and that's how we got the award. It is an award not for me as a person, but I think it is for Bahrain, it is for His Majesty, for the people of Bahrain, because we all share the views and the activities that we have done together. The award here means or to be awarded to people who served diplomacy through cultural means. Diplomacy here doesn't mean the diplomatic relationship between countries, but actually it means the tools and peaceful tools that we use through conferences, lectures, symposiums, other means of multimedia to achieve the goal. The goal here is cultural, is aiming at peace, at peaceful coexistence and tolerance. Therefore, I think this award is unique in the world. It is very well known, and I'm very proud as a Bahraini to receive it. It has been awarded to many important personalities in the world. I think King Abdullah of Jordan has got it. I think it was awarded to the King of Morocco, King Hamad VI. He also was awarded the award, and many other very important personalities in the world.
Yes.
On their personal capacity, of course.
Of course. Shaikh, in order to get an award like this, Bahrain, yourself, are on a pathway of bringing people together, not just people of different cultures. What people need to understand is different cultures is different than different religions. So bringing together cultures, bringing together religions, no matter what they are, is something Bahrain has been doing for a very, very long time. Can you tell us a bit about the history of Bahrain when it comes to influencing people to coexist together in this cultural, colorful place?
In fact, this is the real life of Bahrain. This is the tradition. This is the notion that we have lived for a long time, generations. Now, I think, since 2001, when His Majesty clearly stated his views and thoughts on how the Bahrainis are living, we became to know the importance of our peaceful way of living. In Bahrain, for ages, as I said, has lived through many civilizations, and it is the way through which religions, sects, races, ideological thinking, also without any discrimination between people on any of these grounds. So and it's unique also for Bahrain. The area that we are talking about is very small. Therefore, the contacts between people, different races, different religions, different ideological thinking, not only just daily basis, but even on hourly basis. They live together every day. They are neighbors. They're in a very small area. So this is unique. Many countries, they have different races, different religions and sects, but they live far away from each other. Only the capital, for instance, you get minorities living there,
Yes.
but the majority of one sect or one religion or one race.
Yes, Bahrain's openness to practice these religions within the same neighborhoods, within even the same streets, is something that should be a template actually for all other countries. The King Hamad Global Centre for Peaceful Coexistence was established as a result of different religions getting together to share with the world the Bahraini model of century-old religious freedom and peaceful coexistence. Tell us more about what are the centre's establishments and their goals.
The center clearly and solely based on the ideas and thoughts of and visions of His Majesty the King. As I said earlier, His Majesty built up these visions from the real life of Bahrainis.
Yes.
It is not imported from outside, from any other country or any other area of the world. It has been Bahraini 100%, and through these visions, we have already started by 2001 the path or the road to establish the center.
Yes.
And of course other activities as well. Since 2001 until the establishment of King Hamad Global Centre in 2018, those years in fact are the base for the establishment of the center. This center based on the experience that we got throughout these years.
Yes, yes. When we come to the experience of Bahrain when it comes to peaceful coexistence, we see that Bahrain is also the hub of some institutes, world-recognized institutes like the IPI and so on. And the King Hamad Global Centre is sort of like the cherry on top that keeps everything together in promoting coexistence in Bahrain. How is the collaboration and the cooperation between King Hamad Global Centre and international institutions in order to promote tolerance not just in Bahrain but all over the world, really?
Our mission in the center is to transfer and educate the people of, in many countries in the world about the real life of Bahrain. We have been living in such a beautiful environment of peaceful coexistence, but nobody knows outside the world how we are living, and we cannot really pass this to other countries, the experience that we have, without really a tool, a very effective tool. So therefore, the center's main role and mission is to tell the people of the world that we are living peacefully, that we have principles that we are, following, and our means of life is really depending on dialogue, on tolerance of each other and each religions and sects and races. So that's how we are. That's our mission. This is how we are going to gradually transferring Bahrain into a global center for peaceful coexistence, a center that has all the means, the qualities from the real life of the society.
Yes. Doctor, before we go to our report, how did His Majesty the King's vision lay the foundation for the King Hamad Global Centre for Peaceful Coexistence? How did it actually start as a vision?
As I said, since 2001, His Majesty has ordered that we should, Bahrain as a whole, should engage in all international activities of the world to enhance our means of living and way of living, and through his views and visions, we tried through other means, as I said earlier, that through conferences and meetings on international arena, to transfer and to make his views real and existing not just to Bahrainis but to the world as a whole. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Well, from New York to Paris, to Brussels, to London, to Berlin, the series of international roadshows which were organized by the King Hamad Global Centre for Peaceful Coexistence in cooperation with This Is Bahrain Society aim to highlight religious tolerance in the kingdom and promote understanding between cultures and faiths.
I'm very glad to receive your delegation. Very happy to discover what you're doing in the Kingdom of Bahrain for the dialogue between religions. And in this house we call le Collège des Bernardins. It's a very old house, 700 years old, and during all this time, with some stops, people worked, study the theological objects, and they try today to make this house a very open-minded house for dialogue between all cultures and all religions.
That was just a very small glimpse of all of the trips and basically the roads that the King Hamad Global Centre went on in order to promote peaceful coexistence and show the people of the world how Bahrain does practice it. So from New York to Paris to Brussels to London to Berlin, the series of international roadshows which were organized by the King Hamad Global Centre for Peaceful Coexistence in cooperation with This Is Bahrain Society, of course, it aimed to highlight the religious tolerance in the Kingdom of Bahrain and even promote the understanding between the cultures and the faiths in order to give more of an actual result of the tolerance and the ease of living in Bahrain, which can be applied to any actually city in the world. Doctor, can you please tell us more about those trips and how did they contribute to achieving the actual aspired goals that were set from the beginning?
The trips to many important cities and capitals of the world aimed at meeting and engaging with international centers, universities, academics, and so on, to convey the message of Bahrain. Of course, the message of Bahrain is clearly known as peaceful coexistence, and to encourage them to focus on this issue or this real life of Bahrain, and through these means we can actually transfer our visions and our message, the Bahraini message, to the world. As I said, it is very important for us to make up to lay down the importance of these centers in the world and to cooperate with them, to educate not only the people in the centers themselves, but through those centers we go into the societies abroad. Yeah. So as I said earlier, that if we are looking into Bahrain as a center for global coexistence, it means that we have to go out. We cannot stay at home and hoping that the world would come to us. We must go meet people, convey our messages, discuss with them the importance of living coexistence, and of course, we have now a very important message through the Kingdom of Bahrain Declaration, and of course through the other means like the King Hamad Chair. We'll talk about it later.
Yes. Before we go into that, I just want to ask you on the sidelines, Bahrain, of course, on top of it being a hub for interfaith dialogue and coexistence, the actuality is it is a very highly regarded touristic site. It is a very highly regarded economic site. It's a business hub. Do all of these things intertwine into each other? Is it a whole discipline together where economy is supported by the fact that there is interfaith dialogue, that the fact that there is tolerance in the country, as well as tourism? People like to come here because they see this. Is this something that you see as correct?
It's very correct. We must think collectively of how things get interacted.
Yes.
We cannot really separate one activities of our country from others. So when you talk about tourism, of course, we want the tourists to come and visit our sites, touristic sites, but with that also the very important religious places that Bahrain has anciently to be known of. Therefore, when you talk about a Hindu temple 200 years old, the tourists must come and see that temple, and we have to expose it to the world that we have a temple of Hindu temple of 200 years. And 200 years is not really a short period, and therefore when we talk about other activities of and insights of the country, of course they can get together. So I think our relationship in the Global Center, in the King Hamad Global Center, internally in Bahrain, with the many agencies and many formal and informal NGOs, bodies, is very close, is intact, and has to bring a much more effective way of transferring and conveying our messages. Our message, one of the most important message really is the peaceful coexistence and tolerance. It is in Bahrain, and taking off from Bahrain to other countries through those means. As I said, whether it will be the tourists or any other even from the airports, the people who come and work in Bahrain. So it means that we have link with the labor Ministry of Labor, and so on.
Yes, correct. Of course, Bahrain is an island that geographically is placed in an area where always sailors, and from very long times ago, were always going across this area. So religions, different civilizations like the Babylonian civilization that grew in Bahrain. You can see temples from these years very long ago, where people actually relied on religion in order to continue on with their lives. We also have very beautiful organizations like Bayt al-Quran, as well as future projects like the Lady of Arabia Church. There are so many things in Bahrain that promote this religious tolerance and this religious concept that you have. You mentioned, of course, the declaration, the Kingdom of Bahrain Declaration. It was launched in Los Angeles in 2017, and it's a document that was designed to promote religious freedom and peaceful coexistence on a global basis. What can you tell us more about the creation and the launch of the initiative in order to come up at the end with the declaration?
As you said, it was launched in Los Angeles, in USA, with the presence of His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad. It was internationally known. The choice of Los Angeles is because it is the international city of tolerance. It has the biggest centers, and it has the biggest interaction through the media, through many institutions in Los Angeles. So Los Angeles has been chosen because of the this importance that it has. Of course, we cannot really go global without being globally active. So the launch was mainly in USA, because this declaration is an international document, and it cannot be international document if it has been launched in Bahrain. So it has to be launched in a very important city of the world.
Yes, of course. Well, under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the official inauguration ceremony for the King Hamad Chair in Interfaith Dialogue and Peaceful Coexistence at Sapienza University was held in Rome, Italy in November 2018. University officials stressed the importance of the outcomes achieved by the academic chair in promoting the principles of coexistence and dialogue. More in this report.
The King Hamad Chair is designed to enlighten and engage people from around the world as a means to increase awareness regarding the challenges faced by the world and how to overcome them by studying the visionary leadership philosophy of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa.
We are proud to integrate King Hamad Chair for Peaceful Coexistence in the Sapienza University in Rome. His Majesty the King has these views since long time and has worked very hard in the last years towards making Bahrain a center for peaceful coexistence. And today we have the window to look into Europe through this chair.
Education is the perfect method for success and the easiest method to reach students across the world. Founded in 1303, Sapienza University in Rome is home to around 120,000 students. With the launch of the King Hamad Chair, the Kingdom of Bahrain aims to reach the hearts and minds of young people all over the world to provide them with the knowledge and inspiration to spread the value of peaceful coexistence on a global basis.
Today is a very important occasion for Sapienza University because this chair for interreligious dialogue is very important for the purposes of our university. We are very involved in internationalization and building up a world of peace. And peace comes from the dialogue and the knowledge each other and the possibility to be present on this very important moment of the history of the world.
Today it was a great day at Sapienza University, the launching of the academic chair holding the name of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the King of the Kingdom of Bahrain. This chair, which is dedicated towards interfaith tolerance and peaceful coexistence and dialogue and peace, is one of the latest academic chairs that we have witnessing among the universities.
We are very honored to be here today to start this new adventure, the work for the King Hamad Chair. Our purpose is to work inside knowledge about religions on behalf of the young people of all over the world, starting from the work that we can do here in Rome, in Sapienza.
His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa continues to passionately uphold and protect the centuries-old Bahraini tradition for his sincere belief that religious freedom combined with interfaith dialogue is the clearest and noblest path to assure peaceful coexistence amongst all people of all faiths. This event came as a result of Bahrainis and non-Bahrainis getting together to share with the world the Bahraini model of religious freedoms and peaceful coexistence. Recording for Bahrain International, I am Hamad Yusuf.
Welcome back. Before we move on, we were talking about the declaration, and as we saw in the report, the Sapienza share is a huge support to the declaration and vice versa. The declaration was written based on principles.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about these principles? What are they?
There are five principles. Of course, they all aim at one thing, peaceful coexistence. But these principles, His Majesty's words, it has been written, the declaration has been written by His Majesty through his own views and visions for the future, not future of Bahrain, but as a future for the world and humanity as a whole. as I said, the base is peaceful coexistence,
Yes.
but has got five principles that I can really see clearly.
Yes.
First, religious faith and expression, freedom of choice,
Yes.
the determination of God's will,
Yes.
religion's rights and representation, and the hope of faith.
Yes.
It goes around faith. Faith is very important in this declaration.
Yes.
Where the declaration doesn't mean that we have to be away from religions.
Yeah.
It means that no, faith in fact helps humans to respect other humans.
Yes.
The real faith in God or in God in fact help human beings and persons to understand each other.
Yes.
To work for the good of human beings.
Yes.
What we see today in most of the countries with troubles and terrorism and violence because they have been away from real faith.
Yes.
And many, of course, religious people have used religion and not faith.
Yes.
to achieve different political goals.
Yes.
Therefore, the declaration based on faith, on its 5 principles, of course, this is the way that we should really, it is clearly said by the words of His Majesty, this is that we hope, we humbly teach the world of our ancient old way of life and tradition. So through these principles, and also quoting His Majesty, that ignorance is the enemy of peace. Therefore, we have to work to educate, make people aware of the importance of peaceful living, and the principles and the way of dealing with each other through dialogue, through understanding, and love.
Yes.
It is clearly stating these principles, the way that human beings should really
Yes.
live.
The point that you said that I think is very important to highlight is that people that truly have faith in God will not be able to hurt other people.
It's true.
And people that truly have faith in their religion and in the God of their religion will not have these terrorism ideologies, will not use religion as a platform to preach extremist ideologies, especially that religion is such a personal thing that should be personal between a person's God and himself. And that's why faith is so important, as you said yourself. The King Hamad Global Chair, or the King Hamad Chair in Interfaith Dialogue and Peaceful Coexistence, has recently launched, as we saw, a new academic discipline. And this is the first of its kind in the whole world.
It's true.
And how did this idea come, and how does the initiative come, and what are the aims, and how do you value and receive the feedback that you got about it?
It is true. It is unique. It is a discipline that the universities in the world never had or heard of. It is very simple. Once you really believe in the principles of the declaration and aiming at making this declaration international, there must be a way of contacting the institutions or universities that breach this through their own academic and, of course, students.
Yes.
So the idea came, in fact, if we are seriously and honestly aiming at making this Bahrain as a center globally, and protecting the humans from, or at least lay down the importance of our human future, then I think you need to contact the young generation. His Majesty the King is clearly, here in Bahrain we know it. Here in Bahrain we know that the youth and the young people are very, very important for His Majesty and the leadership as a whole. So concentrating on young people, it means that you are looking through the vision of the future. Because this is the future now. So we are dealing with the future and having the chair aiming at different levels of baccalaureate and bachelor's degree and a master's degree and PhDs. It means that we are aiming at different levels of young people. And those are going to be the preachers of our peaceful coexistence, because whatever the number is now, if it is, we are talking about 250 or so, it means that it will be doubled and tripled in the coming 5 years, and those all will be teachers, ambassadors, and preachers of peaceful coexistence. We feel that young people today are missing this very important idea of faith. They have been away from faith, and especially in many countries. I don't want to concentrate or state only one country, but throughout the world, young people are being away from faith. So through this chair, we are creating many people, and it's going to be a population in the future, of course, that that will guarantee the future or continuous spreading the idea of love and faith and peaceful coexistence.
Yes, and especially that this chair is actually a doctorate chair. And because it's such a new faith, there are so many opportunities. People can go into research, as you said, people can go into preaching. Some people can even go into academics where they teach this to other generations here in Bahrain or anywhere else. And a really important thing is that this chair is at a university, that is extremely old, has so much experience, and it is in the hub of another religious entity, which was in Rome. Sapienza University is an old university in Rome, where the Vatican is, where religion also has been for a very long time. So how important do you see that history goes with religion, especially that Bahrain has such a deep-rooted history, with the Silk Road being here, with the Delmonian civilization being here? This interaction between history and faith, is it important, do you see?
To be frank, when I deliver sometimes lectures abroad, especially in the West, I start with the history of Bahrain of 5,000 years. That draws attention of many audience. It is very important that we state this fact to the audience and to the world. Talking about the chair now in Italy and Sapienza University, it is really one of the oldest universities in Europe. It was established in early 14th century. It has one of the largest population of students, and of course the widest academic programs. So with that one, the location of the chair in this university, it has given it a very important respect among academics, not only in Italy but throughout Europe. That's the idea of of having the chair there. It was not easy. It was very hard to convince the academics of a new discipline.
Took time.
And you are out of what I mean is somebody comes from out of the university, out of the academic life, and suggesting a new discipline.
Yes.
It is very, very difficult to convince the academics of a very important. But I think it was clearly the vision of His Majesty convincing not only the Italian university, but I think any other university in the world. I would like also to mention now, we have attended the conference in Paris last month. It was about the international peaceful peace. This conference mainly targeting peace, and one of the most important suggestions that has came out from the conference was that universities and academics should work together and have new disciplines on peace. So I think it will be taught in the universities now.
Yes, especially that Bahrain is at the forefront of doing this.
Yeah, so we have started it much before.
Yeah.
The international, of course, in Paris, I mean the UNESCO and other international agencies have thought of it.
Yes, correct. And it's also a very valid point that this discipline is so feasible and so sustainable for the future. There is no way of thinking that it will fail at some point, because this is the future. Tolerance is the future. More humans are coming, more ideas are coming, more ideologies are coming. So in order to get them all together, an interfaith dialogue discipline like that is very important. We've almost gotten to the end of our show, but I really want to go back to a recent published statement that you said, that the share is a real step forward towards fighting ignorance, and you noted the importance of knowledge, education and culture and fostering the stability. How can other countries benefit from Bahrain's experience in this regard?
Of course, I quoted His Majesty's words about fighting the ignorance, and ignorance is the enemy of peace. It is very important that we have international cooperation and collaboration, because you cannot really do it alone, because terrorism, fanatic ideas don't necessarily born in your country. Most of them really, they are imported from outside. So we have to fight those through very important cooperation and the relationship between other countries. So the idea of peaceful coexistence, we must take it to other countries, and through proper channels, contacts and discussions, we can create an understanding on international level of what we have in Bahrain. I think it's really very important, and it's really worth it for most of the countries that should come and see what we have. It is not something that fabricated or whatever what we get in the media now. This is the main thing. We get on the media now very fabricated ideas, and nobody really knows what are the facts and what are the false. And through this, I think it is very important that we travel, we go and see people outside, and as an English idiom said, dancing in the dark, nobody can see you. So really we have to show the world that we have real jewel, and they should really benefit of what we have throughout our principles, throughout the chair, King Hamad Chair in Italy, or the Kingdom of Bahrain Declaration, and other means of contacting others in the world, like organizing international conferences, symposiums, lectures, and meetings.
Yes, of course. Bahrain has always been at the forefront at organizing peaceful platforms. We have the Manayama Dialogue. We have as well other conferences that happen here. Thank you very much, Sheikh Dr. Khalid, for being with us today and answering most of our questions. The more we talk about this, the more we need more and more time. Hopefully we'll be able to continue this in another episode. And we also thank you for watching, and see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.
Thank you.